In 2023, I decided to undertake a long-term knitting challenge that was designed to both evaluate my ability as a knitter and also improve on it. I decided to pursue the Master Hand Knitter Certification Program offered through the Knitting Guild Association. I've done a bunch of other videos here on this channel talking about working on level 1 and then working through level 2. And so today's video, I'm just going to give you a brief update on the status of my progress working through level 2. So some quick background, right? To be certified as a master hand knitter, you submit a series of portfolios that consist of written reports and knitted swatches and various projects, and you do that for each of 3 levels. So I submitted my level 2 portfolio in early November, and now I'm just waiting review by the committee and waiting for their feedback, at which point I will revise and resubmit anything that they suggest needs to be corrected or improved on or whatever. Okay, so first I want to start by talking about the pros of the program, right? So the things that I see as the biggest benefits, and they're basically 3 things. One is that I think that it has definitely made me a better knitter. 2, I think it has made me more knowledgeable about and aware of sort of the nuances of different knitting techniques, and also sort of the, like ins and outs of different knitting traditions. And then the third thing is that I think it makes me better at it, or it has made me better at evaluating patterns and techniques and kind of thinking about the kinds of knitted items that I'd like to undertake for the future, and things that I might enjoy pursuing, things that I might find less enjoyable, and why. Okay, under the heading of becoming a better knitter, I wanted to offer some specific examples of that. So I think that there are a couple of ways that working through level 2 of the program has helped me. And one of the things that I've noticed and been happy to notice is that as I work through level 2, I feel like some of the skills that were more challenging for me in level 1, or that I knew, okay, I have to kind of do some polishing work on some of those skills, have become much more second nature to me working through level 2. So there's definitely a way in which the skills build on one another as you work through the program, if you choose to work through the program. All that said, level 2 focuses a lot on finishing work. And so in a lot of ways, it's a lot of the stuff that a lot of knitters don't want to do. So there's a lot of seaming, there's practice picking up stitches, there's just a lot of the kind of nuts and bolts of finishing. There are a couple ways that I noticed my knitting improving over the course of level 2. The first is that I definitely became better at picking up stitches for armholes and necklines. And I know that for a lot of people, armholes and necklines are kind of the bane of their existence. And I would say that that was the case for me for a very long time as well, that I always felt like no matter how careful I was and how hard I tried, they looked sloppy, or I had to kind of keep redoing them, or there were holes in them that I kind of had to patch up, sort of later on, like through, weaving in ends. And so I'll put some footage here that shows sort of the neckline on a sweater that I made for a friend, where I was able to figure out how to ensure that neckline kind of transitions in from the body. So it comes from a textured, the upper portion of the garment is textured, and then it proceeds into a 2x2 rib. And I was able to pick up the neckline in such a way that it looks as if that ribbing just sort of flows out from the top of the sweater itself, right? And I did that. That sweater was knit in pieces and seamed together, right? So it was nice to be able to do something like that. And then the other footage that I'll offer is one of the underarms on my Ooey Gooey sweater, where I felt like, I could really see that I was able to pick up those stitches and it looks much neater and much nicer than on a lot of my previous sweaters. So it was kind of nice to sort of have something that was often a source of frustration for me as a knitter kind of show some progress, right? Which is not to say I don't still have a lot more to learn and a lot more to improve, but it was an acknowledgement. It felt good to see that. Also, a couple of challenging projects. So I would say the most challenging project of level 2 for me was the Argyle sock. And I'll put a picture of it here. I think I did a short where I was working on it. That was a real challenge, right? I think that, for me, yeah, it was a challenge. I don't really know what else to say about it. I generally like doing color work. I did have to kind of redo the Argyle sock a bunch of times. I'm happy with the colors that I chose for it, so that was something that felt very positive, but oh, that project was such a bear. Such a bear. So we'll see how it does when they evaluate it. As I told a friend, I was kind of got to the point where it was like if somebody had said this isn't good enough, you have to do it again, I would have just probably dropped to the floor and started to cry. So I was like, it needs to go out. I think it's as good as I can do right now, and a little more time needs to pass and things can settle, and we'll see sort of how that project did. I think I'm not alone with the Argyle sock project as being challenging, right? It involves both sort of intarsia and seaming, right? And so, yeah, it was a tricky one, and it definitely pushed me as a knitter. So if you find this content useful or interesting, then I hope you'll like and comment and subscribe and come back again and again. One of my goals for 2026 is to reach 500 subscribers, so if you'd like to help me along the way, that would be much appreciated.